Alright, so I came into my greenhouse and I noticed all of this. See all that white stuff? And I was like, what is going on in here? Well, then I figured it out. Right up here in this board is a hole. And I have a burrowing bee. One of the big, giant, beautiful, black and yellow buzzy bees. Yep, they're woodcutters. And they cut into your wood. So I have one living in my greenhouse. I don't actually mind the bees being in my greenhouse because they will pollinate anything that has, flowers starting. And, I usually prune those off anyway. But I just don't want them to mess up my plants because now I have wood shavings all over everything. So I'm going to teach you how I prevent this. They don't just do my greenhouse. They get under my porches, under the eaves in the house, just anywhere they possibly can. And you'll notice signs because you'll get all of that little wood fluff, that's what I call it, laying around. Or you'll be sitting there and all of a sudden you'll just watch like snow past you. And you're like, what's going on? So it's those big, fat, black and yellow bees. I'll try to get one on camera to show you exactly what I'm talking about. See, there's one of those culprits. He won't stay still. But I prevent them very easily, and it's very cheap, and yeah, you just have to throw some stuff in a bag. So let me teach you how I do this. Okay. An old school brown paper lunch bag, a little bit of bubble wrapping or filler. You can use plastic bags, you can use styrofoam peanuts, whatever you have on hand. Just, you need something to fill it. And I like to use some gravel. Some this nice decorative gravel. It's cheap. You can buy it at the dollar store. You can buy all this stuff at the dollar store. Not a big deal. Bubble wrap. $3 and you can like save yourself an entire front and back porch from being devoured. So what I like to do is I'll take my bag and just open it up. And I immediately squish the bottom because I want it to get really wrinkly on the bottom. So I kind of squish it inward. Did you see that? I push it in and just make a fist. So I want it really nice and wrinkly on the bottom. And so it's kind of got this funky shape going now. And then I'm going to take my bubble wrap or filler. I've done it with popcorn, guys, all of that. I'm going to get that ready. This has a big string on it. It's driving me nuts. I'm going to take a handful of this gravel because you want something to weight it down. So I'm putting a handful of gravel in and kind of hold it up and see. You don't want it to blow around too much in the wind. I think I need a little bit more. But you just need something to weight it so that it doesn't just fly away. So just kind of hold it up and swing it. And that should be pretty good. So now I'm going to stick my filler in. And I'm going to push it all the way down to the bottom. And now I'm going to bunch up the top. And just scrunch it all together and give it a little bit of a twist. Now, I'm just using some plastic tie. It's almost like the bread ties. You can use string for this, anything you have on hand, metal, all of that. But you just want to wrap that around to make a closure on the top of the bag. So I've got that all closed in. I'm going to give it a couple good twists. And I like to do it a little tight because, if this gets wet, it might fall out. So just twist it up really good and tight and give yourself enough to loop it onto a nail or a hook. Now, right now, it doesn't look like anything but a hanging bag. So let me show you what you got to do now. All right, like I said, it just looks like a bag. So now's the time to shape it. What I like to do is I like to push all of this in as much as I can. You can even cut it off. But to give it to where it's not a squared shape on the top. So see the difference in that? It kind of looks made from a natural bee or something. What we're doing essentially is making a fake wasp nest. So then what I like to do is I like to come through and squeeze my bag down and just start to give it some shape. And make sure it's nice and wrinkled because if you see a wasp nest out in nature, it is not smooth and flat. It's very kind of rough. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Make sure all my rocks are in the bottom. And see? Now it kind of looks like a wasp nest. So I'm going to hang that on the outside of my greenhouse and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, and that's it. That's what it looks like. Nothing fancy, nothing hard to do. What happens is the bees and the wasps don't get along. So as these buzzy bees come up to my door and they like start to fly up, they're gonna like stop and go, whoa, wait a minute. And then they'll fly off. It has worked for me for years, especially on my back porch. I get hundreds out there, and I've been able to get it down to maybe one that will still hang out because he's the brave one. But this right here will save all this wood from getting burrowed in. And it's real easy and simple. When it gets rained on, all you have to do is just let it dry and reshape it again. Be careful, you might lose your rocks out the bottom. If that happens, because I twisted something around the top, I can just replace the bag real easy. And all I did was put it on a nail. No big deal. But it's very reminiscent to a hornet's nest or a wasp nest. And because those species don't get along, it's going to save you money. You won't have to worry about patching holes and building all these traps out of mason jars. It's just real simple. So yeah, I like to use the twist ties because all I had to do was untwist this and take it off of the nail. And then I'm able to show you guys the full results. If you don't want to use plastic inside, like I said, I've used popcorn, anything that you can think of that's going to keep this poofed and shaped. If you try to do it without or with paper, it will honestly get really wet and mushy. So if you're willing to change out paper a lot, you can just throw newspaper inside. That's it. So I hope this helps you guys out. I really wanted to share it because it's helped me since I've lived in this house. Like I said, I've had hundreds of these burrowing bees and they drive me absolutely insane. I just was not expecting them to like try to move in and make homes in my roof of my greenhouse. So there you go. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.